sit here and wait. Pretty much. I'm paraphrasing from Sean. But why are you not going to talk about the pitching coach situation first? Okay, you want to? I mean, we can. We can. If it's what you guys want, man, I guess we can do it. I mean, why not? Why not? All right. So listen, last night we broke down a lot of the situations, the things I did like, the things that I did not like, in reference to how the news came out in reference to Wes Johnson going to Georgia. I think it's a good move for Wes. Everybody serves fit with it. It's a good thing. Let me throw this out there, though. Okay. I do think that let me say this to start off with. LSU changed the game with a lot of things that they were doing, especially in baseball, when Scott Woodward showed that he will go out there and spend the money for assistant coaches, especially in that sport. It would not surprise me and would not be factually wrong if LSU and Jay Johnson, for some things that I'm hearing, would go out there and start kicking the tires on some other and maybe right now current Major League Baseball coaches. I think that that's happening. I pretty much have it on good authority and think that Jay has told some people that he's close to, and, you know, there's some chatter around the AD's office that Nate has probably 3 or 4 guys that he is considering and wants to talk to. 2 of them probably coming from Major League Baseball. Now, are those guys in the minors? Are those guys back in the MLB? I don't know. We'll start finding a little bit more of that out. I think Jay's more focused on one thing, and that's winning a super regional, but I know that he's having those conversations. Over probably the last 24 hours, and I wanted to say this last night, but thought and wanted to run some more things down. There is a name that continues to be brought up when it comes to Jay Johnson and pitching coach. Now, this name, if you follow Jay Johnson for a long time, is going to resonate with you really well. It's Nate Yeskie. Now, who is Nate Yeskie? He was an assistant coach at UNLV. He played at UNLV in 2003. He also coached at Oregon State the year that you would face them in Omaha in that 2017 and 2018 year. He was the associate head coach, wait for it, from 2019 to 2021, and pitching coach for Jay Johnson. When Jay made the leap from Arizona to LSU, Yeskie would go to Texas A&M with Jim Schlossnagle, and then Jay would obviously go in a different direction. We saw what he did with Wes. We saw what he did with Coach Kelly, who's now at Washington. Nate Yeskie's high on that list. I think that Jay trusts him. I think that he knows that the situation, meaning Nate, knows that the situation at LSU is a little bit different, but that's not to say that he will be the next pitching coach. It's just a name that continues to come up. I'm not saying it's confirmed. I'm not saying that he will be. You never know what happens in these interviews. If you could go get the best Major League Baseball pitching coach in the country because of the money that you're willing to spend, more than likely there would be a pretty strong chance that that happens. I don't know if Jay's going to entertain that because you've gone through 2 pitching coaching searches already. You've gone through Coach Kelly, who's at Washington, and now Wes is taking the head coaching job at Georgia. I do think there is one critical thing here. I do believe that Jay does want somebody to possibly be here for more than just 1 year. And I don't blame him. I would assume that that might be a little bit of a thing for him, even if he publicly doesn't come out and talk about that. But Nate Yeskie checks a lot of boxes. He checks a lot of boxes for you when it comes to what you're looking at. And the truth is, he's been with, I mean, look, he was an assistant coach at Oregon State from 2009 to 2019 with one of the better coaches that we've seen. Now, I don't want to get down the rabbit hole of Nate Yeskie and the whole situation that happened with Pat Casey. Pat Casey was a damn good head coach. They won a lot. He was around a lot of winning. He was the associate head coach and pitching coach under Jay Johnson. He knows what Jay needs. And let's call it what it is. LSU is just a different breed of animal when it comes to baseball. Guys, I don't think that you understand this. They're legitimately is major league pitching coaches that are out there that are picking up the phone for Jay Johnson and saying, "Hey, coach, how are you?" Because if LSU is willing to pay the money that they're willing to pay, so more money that any pitching coach is making right now in Major League Baseball. Oh, by the way, I get to be with my family more. Oh, and by the way, it's less games and not a struggle on me every single day. It's all of a win-win. It's all of a win-win. But one thing that made me calm today, when Brian Kelly went through this situation, you didn't really worry about him if, Brian Polian left. Yeah, who's going to be a special teams coordinator? Yeah, okay. Will it work? We really do hope it works, but I think Brian Kelly knows what he's doing. When Kim Mulkey goes through something, you don't worry about Kim Mulkey. There's nothing that Kim Mulkey can't overcome and overachieve. She already has won a national title in year 2. You get the same vibe from Jay Johnson. Now, that doesn't mean that I don't care. I do care. I care a lot of who he hires. I think Jay is on the brink of something extremely special. Here's my hot take of the night. I usually try to give one or two. I think Jay is building something. Now, do I think Kim's going to win multiple national titles? Yes. Do I think that Brian Kelly can win multiple national titles? Yes. It's just for me. I think that Jay is in a different situation where he could be the next Pat Casey or Skip Bertman or whoever. Now, those are big shoes to fill. Skip is a big shoe to fill. Okay? You got to admit, it's a massive shoe to fill when it comes to talking about Jay Johnson and filling the greatest shoes that have ever graced Louisiana grass when it comes to baseball. But you can tell that Jay is building something special. Jay's a young dude. He's not 60 years old, and I don't mean this in a wrong way, like Brian Kelly and Kim Mulkey. He could be here for 20 years and do special things. I think he's on that path. When you can go into Major League Baseball and pluck somebody, it should tell you are the creme de la creme when it comes to baseball. I don't say this lightly. You know that I don't like talking about this has been a staple on this show for such a long time. I do not like talking about the words elite. You can talk about players, you can talk about coaches, you can talk about teams. Yeah, maybe. But we throw the word GOAT out so many times. We throw the word elite out so many times. We got to be different with that. I don't think people understand that these little 3 letters, LSU, that's on my hat, I don't just think people understand you're the creme de la creme. Is there any other team in the country in college baseball that could pick up the phone and say, "Hey, coach, this is Jay Johnson from LSU"? 9 times out of 10, Jay would probably be laughed at.